Capital Games is partying this month, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, we got a fun topic lined up for today. And I gotta say, let me preface this before we get into how much money Relics made for Galaxy of Heroes. There's good news that we can pull out of this. And I guess there's also gonna be some bad news that we can draw from this as well. Because at least from me, being on the ground and seeing people, this was not really the most exciting update for people to get their hands on, as we're gonna talk about today. This video is not gonna be for the faint of heart, ladies and gentlemen. This is kind of a wake-up call for those of you playing Galaxy of Heroes, because this is kind of a big, September was a big month indicating how the game is going to move going forward. We know mobile games, they're in the business of finding people that love spending money. Yes, it's a free-to-play game, but at the end of the day, it's the whales that keep the lights on. And the question's been going around for a while, is Galaxy of Heroes dead? Past few months, in my opinion, the last quarter was the worst quarter of all time in terms of actual fun new content to play around with, but the numbers tell something a bit different that I think Capital Games and EA is a bit more concerned about, as we're going to talk about today. So before I actually show you the magic numbers in terms of how much money Relics made for Galaxy of Heroes, I want to come back to this. If you remember the other day, I posed a question to you: how do you feel about Relics? I'll show you my anecdotal results are in regards to that, but they kind of spun this in a funny way where they say high engagement with Relics indicates that Relics, it was something the community liked. That's kind of where they're going with it, and I laughed at the logic. I don't think just because you engage with it, it doesn't mean that it's a good update. You're kind of just forced to do it if you want to keep playing the game. But this is what they really were trying to mean when they wrote this post, and this is what they were really talking about, ladies and gentlemen, right over here. September 2019. Now remember, the last fiscal quarter ranged from July all the way until the end of September 30th, and as we see, September was quite the successful month. Now, Sensor Tower is where this data comes from, and I'm sure the actual books are going to vary a little bit differently if you actually pulled out Capital Games and EA's records on this, but this is kind of used generally to see the health of a mobile game. And from what we're seeing right here, this was actually the most successful month, September that is, of 2019. And that is something I can guarantee you Capital Games are well aware of. And this is probably going to be the model going forward in terms of how to make more money out of this game. Now, of course, everything's going to be a bit anecdotal here. My guild personally lost quite a few people in Galaxy of Heroes this past month after the release of Relics. Actually, a game changer, Miss Passier, you guys may know, they're a small channel, but they themselves kind of just quit Galaxy of Heroes. They were sick of the Relic update, so very dedicated players that I was aware of kind of dropped Galaxy of Heroes because Relics was just kind of the finishing straw. But if you guys remember, when I was in California a couple weeks ago and I was visiting Mobile Gamer and the Relic update dropped, we were saying that you only need a very tiny handful of people to buy those $300 Relic packs, and that right there is going to make them plenty of money to kind of ignore all the other hate and sentiment that's going on in the community. And as we're seeing, that is indeed the case. I mean, as you can kind of tell right here, this past year we had a couple of big things, but they did not make nearly as much money. I believe this is the graph that's kind of easier to read right here. Let's just kind of historically go through this year and examine the actual new playable content compared to what happened in September. Let's start our way over to the beginning of the year. January, I don't remember every single detail. I know we got the Millennium Falcon, and I can't remember if there was anything else that was pretty big, but February came, and that's when we finally started getting the General Grievous rework. But also during that month, we had leaks from straight developer gameplay that Darth Revan was coming around the corner, and then March came, and as you can see, there still wasn't really that much money to be made. Then April came, we got Padme Amidala. May came, we really only got the Separatist reworks, nothing too special. June, we had Shakti. July, the Geonosis Territory battles came out. August, really not much came out except the clone reworks happened and a Vulture droid. In September, whoop, money shot straight up, ladies and gentlemen. And then when you compare it to other years, September didn't do all that bad compared to their high points. That was definitely probably one of their top 10 moments in terms of making money. Of course, the pinnacle of income, it was March 2018 when the Sith Raid was released. And for me personally, there's a correlation between the game being successful and my channel being successful. So that's why I'm always trying to root for this game. I want this game to be successful because I like people coming over. I like my community growing and all that fun stuff. And in March 2018, I can tell you that besides the game making that much money, that was the highest sub growth my channel has ever had in the history of playing Galaxy of Heroes. The point I'm trying to make here is that I like when new content comes out. 2018, we got a new Sith Raid, we got a bunch of new characters. That's the stuff we want. That's when I want to see Galaxy of Heroes making one, because they're making fantastic content. But what I don't want to see is what happened in September 2019, where really they just reskinned the gear and got you to re-upgrade your characters after just getting the gear 13 a couple months ago. Oh, that's another thing that happened in June, June 2019, was we had the gear 13 update. So I guess let's talk a bit about the good news first. We see the numbers right here. September was a fantastic month. What does that mean? Galaxy of Heroes, from a financial standpoint, is not going to be dead. I see this game going on for quite a long time. As free-to-play games work, as long as you keep that dedicated audience continuing to play this game and continuing to spend money, why would Capital Games or EA shut down this game when they just reskinned gear and made about $13 million last month? That's something that's kind of obvious, I think, that this game isn't going to just up and disappear. Of course, when we look at the numbers in terms of new downloads and new installs, those numbers are continually dropping. And of course, we don't have data in terms of how many people are actually leaving and stopping playing the game. So we see that the game is low growth, which of course, a lot of it could be in regards to Star Wars, which I'm hoping the Star Wars franchise is going to improve in the next few months with the Mandalorian and all that. So maybe we'll see new installs, and that is also kind of correlating with Capital Games' goal next month to try to expedite the new player process, as we were talking about the other day. So maybe we'll see this game grow a bit more in terms of new players joining the game, which is something we all want. We love when the community gets new players joining and having the same fun as we are in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. So the game is going to keep moving on. So if you're someone that's worried, is this game going to just up and disappear? No. It's not. It's going to keep going on for quite a while, so long as they can keep doing stuff like this, where they can, let's be honest, September was kind of lazy content. What other game out there, what other business model is out there where they introduce a character like Commander Luke Skywalker from 2-3 years ago? Nothing about Commander Luke has really fundamentally changed, yet they keep getting you to re-gear or re-spend to keep upgrading the same 2-year-plus old character over and over again. It's a genius business model. It's something so easy. A couple software changes, of course, I'm sure it takes work to develop it, but in terms of a financial standpoint, that's great. Now, keeping on with our good news conversation for 1 or 2 more points here. For taking this point at face value, the other day in our Q&A post, they talked about whether the dev team is being pulled away to work on the new game. As we know, Capital Games is working on a second game. We don't know what it is. I believe it's not going to be Star Wars or anything that's going to take away from Galaxy of Heroes. And this has been a slow couple months. There's really been no new content. And the question came up, are any developers who work on new content being pulled away from Galaxy of Heroes to work on the other game? And if we take their statement as true, which I will, they say none. So the developers who make new content, they're still working on Galaxy of Heroes new content. Now, who knows? Maybe other positions out there, maybe they're getting pulled away. I don't know. There's only talking about solely developers that work on new content. And they even talk about, they assume this question's coming from the slowdown in new content. And they say making the new territory battle is a pretty monumental undertaking. They have to create new models, come up with new kits, balance tens of thousands of combat nodes. We are also starting preliminary ideation of a raid. We already talked about the ship raid / the actual raid coming out in early 2020. They're working on the epic confrontation and also working on episode 9 content. So I firmly believe that yes, the past few months were kind of slow, and I think this just in September it was just kind of an easy pick-me-up for Galaxy Heroes to boost up their numbers before the end of the fiscal quarter. And then probably the next few months here we're going to see lots of new content for October, November, as well as December. So that's the good news. Yeah, we had a pretty slow and probably the worst quarter for new content the past few months here, but I think moving forward this game is going to keep surviving for quite a long time. As long as you get that small handful to keep spending money, the lights are going to be on, free-to-play players can keep enjoying it, the whales can keep having their fun. That's just how things are going to roll, I think, from going forward. Only downside is what it means in terms of how Capital Games will look going forward. Should we keep working on new content every couple weeks like a lot of mobile games do? Usually every 2 weeks or so. Most mobile games, they have something new happening. Not like that for Galaxy of Heroes, at least the past few months. It maybe from Capital Games perspective, I guess this kind of moves on into our negatives. One of the bad thing is that instead of working on pushing out more frequent new content, they could just do things like that where they're going to update the gear. And we already saw the other day that as of now they have no plans on increasing the relics, but they said the system is designed so we can go beyond relic 7. So they could just easily one day put a couple codes, and I'm definitely exaggerating how easy it is right now, and then they'd get people to spend money to get to relic 8, 9, 10. So it's really the downside is that how easy it was for them to make relics money off relics. Again, there's a plus and con to all this, but for those of you that don't like how that is, I think you got to kind of come to realization this is a mobile game, free-to-play model, and it's almost a 4-year-old mobile game. And especially when the audience is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, they got to find a way to keep making money, to keep the lights on. So we might see more of what was pulled in September 2019, where they're going to just release some sort of relic update. People are going to buy the packs. At least for me personally, I'm a completely different target. I'm only solely buying stuff from a business perspective so I can test it out, show you guys before you guys make the financial decision to buy buy these relics. Like, I bought the $300 packs. I think it was about $300. So I got my Grievous, Anakin, and Echo to Relic 7 pay to play. Then all my other relics are free to play. As I told you guys, getting to Relic 5 is extremely free to play friendly. But for the average person, I don't really recommend spending money on relics unless you truly have the money, you can afford it, and you're enjoying the game. Then spend the money. I told you guys my whole spiel on spending money in Galaxy of Heroes. But for me personally, if I was an average consumer, man, $300 just to put a reskin of gear on my characters that are already a couple years old, it's kind of steep. And then last, let's show you my anecdotal evidence I have. The other day I put out a video asking you guys, what is your opinion of relics? And I gotta say, I was a bit surprised. Of course, I was expecting a pretty good amount saying that they did not like the relics. That we had 45% of the few thousand people that voted. Again, this is anecdotal evidence. I'm not saying this is representative of the whole community that plays Galaxy of Heroes, because of course a very specific subset of the community comes and watches my videos. But when you combine indifferent and the people who did enjoy relics, you can say that more than 50% at least didn't really care about relics, didn't bother them to liking it. So I think that's just how it is. When new stuff comes out, you're gonna get a vocal minority. That's 45% is definitely a big chunk right here. But every time there's a new update or a new event, the next epic confrontation event, I can almost guarantee you there's gonna be people that are gonna be complaining. You'll probably hear something out of me too as well. But at the end of the day, we move beyond it. People still keep playing. People still keep spending money. And as long as they keep making money, $13 million just from reskinning the gear, basically, easy money. And that's a good thing. And there's also a bad side to it. So guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below. Were you as surprised as me that this is the most successful month out of 2019 and one of the most successful months it looks like overall from the past several years? They made $13 million. Crazy, 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 crazy. Like if you did enjoy the video, comment down below on your thoughts. Do you like where the game is going? Are you okay that once in a while stuff like this happens so the lights keep staying on and we can keep playing this game for another couple years? Would love to hear your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And I'll talk to all of you lovely people in the next video. Peace out, everyone.
Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, 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 down. Party Richter, Party Richter. Son of a bitch. Party Richter, Party Richter. Down, down, down.